Hello once again. I am Nicholas. I will be your guide through the apocalypse. South Korean Trump? Is that what we have here? That's what I thought yesterday. Do we have a South Korean Trump? Is that what we dealing with? Sorry, I'm trying to get out the shadow, but I guess it ain't gonna work. Anyway, it looked like I have a shadow mustache. Yeah, so remember yesterday, the South Korean president declares martial law. He's a right-winger. He has a more liberal majority in his houses of parliament or Congress, however it works over there. I assume they are a kind of hybrid form of democracy. Like here, that's why the United States has bases there and helps them out. I assume. So, what happened today? Well, less than a day later or a day later, the martial law has been rescinded and the president may be impeached. They want to impeach him the next day. Do you hear me? The next day. We had someone try and overthrow the government. They haven't seen a day in jail. It's been 4 years. And they allowed them to run for president, and now they get the position back that they tried to steal. Back to South Korea. 1 day later, they want to impeach this motherfucker, South Korean Trump. I don't even know his name. Doesn't matter. Just another automaton out for utter power. Nothing else. Not worth anything. Waste of oxygen. So many just like him. All across the world. We're seeing a bunch of them get assembled right in our own government. It's going to be fun. Thanks, Rubes. So when there's a will, you can act. For instance, let's take Puff Daddy. They arrested him, they denied him bail, and he's in prison. As far as I know, unless he wiggled his way out of it. In other words, there was a will to act, they acted, and now there's consequences for the crimes, alleged crimes committed. He hasn't had his trial yet, but in America they can make a decision whether you're a flight risk, etc., whether they give you bail or not. Well, Donnie keeps getting bail on all his cases. Isn't that interesting? The orange guy. The black guy, he didn't get bail on his case. You notice that? I noticed it, but I have no love for Puff Daddy. But we all know what it is, don't we? Of course we do. My point is, there's no will, but when there is a will, the government can act fast, law enforcement can act like that, arrest a motherfucker, cuff him, deny him bail, and, forget about it. Wait for trial. When there's a will to act, this is the result. And what do I mean by that? Again, back to South Korean Trump. Yesterday, he declared martial law. The members of government rose up. The populace rose up, and he got scared shitless and said, oh shit, let me rescind my attempt at taking over the government and making it mine for me and my buddies. Because they want me to, and I want me to. So they made him back down on that, and today they go impeach his ass, or try. Immediate consequences for a very severe act. Martial law. Imagine if that got enacted here or anywhere. Guys with machine guns on every corner telling us what to do. Do you want that? Rubes, you voted for it. You voted for South Korean Trump. You voted for that type shit. Where there's no rules anymore and they're just going to take what they want. And they don't give a fuck about you or me. Take that to the bank. Take it. Deposit it. It will grow. So one more time, when there's a will to act, boy, the next day they can act. And that's what should have happened to Donnie Shitbags on Jan 6. He should have been in cuffs immediately after that event or the next day. And there should have been consequences. Because if you overthrow the government, you are now overthrowing the justice system as well, if you are successful. There should be special rules that apply to those things. We made special rules for terrorists, right? What else would you describe someone who tries to overthrow our government and incites a mob to do the dirty work and watches them all go to prison while he's orange gold down in Mar-a-Lago? So yes, when there's a will to act, there are consequences, and people learn lessons and learn not to try or pull this bullshit on the country. Well, the South Korean Trump tried it in South Korea, and they said, oh no, fuck no, and we're going to take care of you right now, legally. And that's what should have happened to Donnie Shitbags. I don't care how much you like him, dislike him, etc. He tried to overthrow the U.S. government because he lost an election. It is that simple. Even the simplest cult member knows it. Here's the thing, though. South Korea, and this is what I should have said yesterday while I was ranting about all kinds of things that I didn't mean to. South Korea is a very different place than America. Why? Because they have a dictatorship, one of the most brutal, right across their border. And they want no part of that bullshit. And this whole right-wing authoritarian thing, just like back in Hitler's day, white nationalist movement, or a nationalist movement, which is really an authoritarian movement. That's what it comes down to. That's what the global right-wing type authoritarian thing is. And again, it doesn't have to involve white people. It's an ideology based on oligarch funding and finding puppets to make it all happen, like Donnie Shitbags or South Korean Trump, etc. That's what Vlad does. That's what the oligarchs of this world do. One of them just bought our country, Musk. Him and Thale bought our country. Thanks, Rubes. So they're moving swiftly to handle their problem. The person that tried to make the government theirs and his oligarch friends. They're going to handle him quickly, severely, hopefully. And make sure that never happens again, because the South Koreans do not want to become North Koreans. By proxy. Just a different dictator. They don't want that, and they proved it. They said, oh no, you think you're going to turn us into North Korea, son? South Korean Trump? You're going to be a South Korean Trump? No, you're not. I have a lot of respect for those people and those people in government that stopped this. That's the kind of miracle we're going to need with what we got coming. But for us, it ain't going to happen. And again, let me continue. South Koreans are motivated, big time, to not let their country turn into North Korea. Americans are not motivated. Americans vote for it. They want to be conned. 28% want to be conned. They love it. They love supporting a criminal. They want a dictator as long as they own the libs in the process. And by owning them, I mean locking them up forever. Or killing them, or whatever they feel like doing. And they'd have no problem with that, and they'd go right to work. All day, every day, with their illegal crew of Mexicans. So they can have that F-350. They would care less if that happened to people that don't share the cult mentality, that don't want to go along. Whatever race, ethnicity they are, gender they are. They could care less. They proved it by putting their name on it. Shit like you saw in South Korea can happen here with these sociopaths. They didn't hide their intentions. But here's the difference between South Koreans and most Americans, not all. We're lazy. We're spoiled. We're entitled. We didn't grow up in a dictatorship. We don't know what it's like. That's why so many rubes treat this like a team sport and don't hesitate to vote for the most vile of cretins, as long as there's an R next to their name. Because they didn't have to live in a dictatorship yet. They didn't have to live in Europe or their parents or whatever, a lot of them, as it was getting bombed all day by Hitler. And country after country being taken over, and the atrocities that take place when those countries get taken over. So we haven't lived that here. If you study history, though, and you take it seriously, you might as well have lived in a dictatorship. You understand the consequences. You understand the stakes. Rubes, little children. That's if you take it seriously. If it's not just a story to you. If you say, oh shit, this really happened. Millions of people died because of one fucking scumbag. It only took one. And then it takes everybody else to just go along. I've never understood this concept. Everybody walking around knowing it's wrong, knowing it's evil, knowing it's terrible. And we all just go along. Whatever, that's the history of man. Man loves yielding to scum, don't they? Anyway. So Americans don't have the same experience, and they proved it. And they prove it every day by how most of us live and go about this existence. The South Korean experience is not our experience. We're a fat, lazy, entitled nation for the most part. Greedy as fuck. Everybody wants to be the next Bezos, Musk, etc. They envy those people. They prove that as well when they vote for people like Donnie Shitbags, that they envy those people. And they want to be them. They proved it by voting for it. So I'm sorry to tell you, I don't see that miracle happening in this country. We don't have majorities in the House to counteract the presidency. I've already explained to you in prior videos, in this tour through the apocalypse, what the skilo is. Every government agency taken over. All three branches of government taken over. Military almost taken over. Who's going to stop it? When Joe Biden pardoned his son, that should have been a wake-up call to everybody. He sees the writing on the wall, and he don't like what he sees. I don't like what I see either. That's why I'm doing this shit. Wasting my time, but I'm still doing it. Because it's too late now. So I don't see the will to act here. And honestly, this is my opinion of America. If 10% of the population had a job and a home and the rest of us were all homeless, it would just still continue. I don't see the will to act here. And honestly, it's too late. Only some higher authority maybe could act. I don't know. I don't see Americans taking to the streets over this until it's too late. That's when they'll want to take to the streets. And I'm not saying there haven't been protests in this country, but it takes a lot to get Americans out these days. This ain't the 60s. And, you know, they've got us all working 9 jobs anyway just to pay our bills. That's intentional. The oligarchy. Joe wanted to raise their taxes. But he's the bad guy, right? So I don't see that miracle event happening for America. America had their chance. 28% decided they liked what they saw. There's going to be consequences for that. There's no going back. You made the choice. You're going to take the ride. Buy the ticket, take the ride. Hunter Thompson. So I'm here to tell you, and I hope, once again, I'm dead wrong. I don't enjoy saying these things. I'm just trying to guide you through it. So maybe I can teach one or two people something maybe they didn't know. Or maybe it'll help in some way. I don't know. So, again, the real points I wanted to make. When there's a will to act, law enforcement has no problem acting. They set this precedent in this country. Here's something I'd like to say, to Joe Biden and the Democrats and people in law, Merrick Garland. The hierarchy in this country. I know they dare not set the precedent. They are terrified, the Democrats were, of setting the precedent of putting a former president in jail because they knew it would be a tit for tat thing. If they did it for Trump for his actual crimes, when the next party regained control, they would do it to the prior president or some Democrat president just out of retribution. Donnie's all about revenge and retribution. He thrives on it. He lives on it. It courses through his veins all day. So by living that way, both parties, we are terrified to set the precedent of putting an ex-president in jail because we can't set that precedent. That might come back to bite us in the ass, a lot of us, in tit-for-tat prosecutions, etc. In the modern era, they set that precedent when Richard Nixon got caught red, bloody-handed, committing a crime to win the presidency in an attempt to help his chances or help his party, whatever. He resigned in exchange for a pardon. So they had a president dead to rights. The whole world knew he was guilty. He was caught red-handed. They decided we cannot have this. We cannot put Richard Nixon, one of the biggest scumbags ever born, by the way, in prison, because we don't want to set the precedent of putting a former president or president in prison. So Donnie's cases just go away, because we can't prosecute the king, right? I thought we weren't supposed to have kings. What if the king, did some shady shit in his purse or killed somebody during his presidency? I'm not talking about military action. I'm talking about in his personal life. What if he murdered someone? We're just going to say, well, he's president. We can't prosecute. What if he does it on the Senate floor? What if he walks into the Senate chamber, the president of the United, I'm just, hypothetical, and just shoots somebody? He just goes right back to the Oval Office and continues his day? Because we can't prosecute? That's what we're talking about. Above the law. Donnie was above the law before, he's above the law now. Don't matter if he's president. They still didn't lock him up. Committed crimes while president, committed crimes after the presidency. Don't matter, whether he's president or not. They still don't take action like the South Koreans took action. This is the consequence. The possible loss of America to Vlad Putin and various oligarchs who despise any freeness, fairness for us. They love it for them. Or money for us. They want it all, baby. And they gonna take it. If America survives this, I will be stunned. So, the intention by people like Merrick Garland, for whatever reason, probably just not to set the precedent, And everyone in top law enforcement for this past 4 years, and the day after January 6th, or Inauguration Day, whatever. This person should have been arrested. Tried to overthrow the government. That's why. Not because I don't like him. There has to be consequences for that. When there's no consequences for that, we have what we have now. You hand the office back to the person who tried to steal it. It's absurd, which tells me it's almost as if it is supernatural. It doesn't make any sense. There's something more here. And everybody sees it. And I mean everybody. We don't talk about it though, do we? I do. These are the consequences. You can't let a person who tried to overthrow the government run for that same office again. But they did it because they were scared shitless to set the precedent. So that desire not to set the precedent and maintain the status quo, everybody's all comfortable. We don't want to get too mad at each other up here at the top. With this prosecution stuff, that desire to not handle that situation swiftly the next day, like the South Koreans are. We may lose our country. We most likely will. If I had to bet on it, I would bet we're going to lose our country. And I'm not saying that because I don't like who the president is. I'm not that kind of person. If I don't see it, I don't say it. I'm saying it because I see it. We just saw South Korea. Someone tried to pull a move. They're testing the waters in all these different countries. This authoritarian movement across the globe, backed by oligarchs, backed by mobsters like Putin. Mobsters do not like democracy. They don't like rules. They don't like laws. They like when they can take it all without, thought of retribution for their actions or punishment for their actions. That's what mobsters like. They don't like the word no. Democracy tells you no sometimes. They don't like that. They're all testing the waters. Some of them are getting ousted immediately, and the people and the government are handling it immediately. Some places aren't, like America. How pathetic are we that we allow? Not we. I had no choice in this. You people did your job. You voted for the other party and other people that were not corrupt, that weren't trying to sell us out to Vlad every 3 seconds, that weren't handing him classified documents. You did your job. Law enforcement, top law enforcement, did not do theirs. Don't ever feel bad. You people made it happen. Donnie Shitbags had to get on a plane with My Way playing in the fucking background. The guy hated him who sang that song, by the way. Hated Donnie Shitbags. Despised him. While his kids cried on the tarmac. The grift is over. Nah, they managed to string it along for 4 more years. Thanks to Vlad's money, RNC money, all kind of money. They managed to keep it going. And hey, what was to stop them? No one was prosecuting anybody. No one was locking anybody up. A lot of show trials, though. They were fun. You know, Donnie would have to show up to the courthouse for like 5 minutes and then just let him walk right back out. Puff Daddy's still in there, though. So no one stopped any of it, so why wouldn't it continue? No one, they had no problem jailing the peasants that did the dirty work for Donnie. But once it gets up to congressmen, senators, oh no, we can't set that precedent. And we can't point the finger at one side of the aisle, about 80% of them, and saying you're all traitors to America. We have to remove a bunch of you. And this ain't no witch hunt bullshit that you people yell every day. You all tried to overthrow the government and worked with Russia to fucking do it. And it's sad that more Americans don't care about that. That's why you're going to lose your country. Because it's a football game to you. So I don't expect America to rise up like the South Koreans. I don't expect people in government to rise up like the South Korean government did. I don't expect anything. I expect us to lose our nation. That's what I expect. And that's not exaggeration or drama. This isn't a normal situation. This isn't the normal politics. This isn't normal this isn't a normal candidate. This isn't a normal cabinet. It's all insane. It's all sociopathy. It's a setup for something big. You can feel it, you can see it, and they ain't even lying about it, really. They kind of told us what they were going to do. Now they're doing it. Big respect for the people of South Korea and the government of South Korea for stopping South Korean Trump. Well done, people. I hope I can say the same here, but I don't think I'm ever going to get to say that. Unfortunately. We're not South Korea. We're not made of the same stuff. We haven't lived the same thing. We don't have a dictatorship right over our border where people get executed at the whims of a dictator. We do have a political party and a bunch of oligarchs and CEOs and people like that are perfectly willing to work with Vlad Putin, our enemy. Now, trolls, bots, RNC people, disingenuous people will say, we're not at war with Russia. We've been at war with Russia since 1945, son. You don't know? You better ask somebody. What do you think? 99% of the things America does in the world, deploys in the world, are about. The big game, us versus Russia, I've talked about it before. I'm not going to go into it again. But if you don't know about this, if this is news to you, you have not been paying attention. You are not the slightest student of history. Since World War II, it's been a race between America and Russia to dominate. And each of the other wants the other one to go down. CIA took them down in the 80s. Vlad didn't forget that. And like I've said before, he wants to ruin all of you, even the most hardcore rube that has an America First sticker on their truck, and I'd rather be Russian than a Democrat t-shirt on at the same time. No love for you. He wants to see you starving. He wants to see your children homeless. He wants to see our economy fall. He wants to see our military neutered. He wants to see his oligarch buddies like Musk and Thale loot our fucking country till there's nothing left, just like Vlad did to Google. That's what he wants for you and your children. That's not a lie. That's not an exaggeration. You gave him his wildest dream when you re-elected his orange bitch. You gave your country away. 2-0, 4-0, as if it were nothing. To Vlad Putin. So I don't really see the will to stop any of this, like they had the will in South Korea. Again, they had the will to lock Puff Daddy up and keep him there. They did not have the will to lock someone that, higher up in the hierarchy that managed to grift his way into the presidency because a black guy got elected the 8 years before. I see, especially in America, but all across the world, there's way too many sycophants in all walks of life ready to line up and betray for the slightest reward. Betray their co-workers at work. Betray this, betray that. Betray their country. As long as they can get some prestige out of it, like Kellyanne did. A lot of these people that we would have never heard of, Kash Patel, Tim Pool, so many worthless sociopaths that will take $1 from Satan and ask, what do you need me to say? And our buddies at the websites are all too happy to platform it as long as the Russian money's coming in. I'm going to change the name of my channel to KGB Agent. That gives Google $100,000 a month. Therefore, I can never be shut down. I'm just kidding. But if I did change it to that, I'd probably never be shut down. No, what really counts is the money going to the company. Vlad knows this. That's why he took it back. Anyway, when there's a will, there's a way. South Korea, you showed us that. When the will is there to save your country from the sociopaths, it happens. Here, top law enforcement doesn't care. We can't have congressmen, senators, and presidents getting locked up over here. We can't set that precedent. We don't want the parties too mad at each other. We can't have that. We can't have tit-for-tat prosecutions back and forth. So, you know what? We just got to let Donnie slide on. I know he stole 3,000 documents, classified documents, gave them all to Vlad. I know he tried to overthrow the government. A woman got killed that day. One cop died the next day. Of course, the rubes will try and say that's natural causes. There is no low that they don't know. Yes, I've seen many times on the internet that cop that died the next day after the riot, after getting beat to a pulp by a mob. Oh, it was just natural causes. It's just coincidence. Fuck out of here. These types of things get said, and then they get spread by companies like this. And people repeat it like good parrots. Yeah, it's just a coincidence he had a heart attack and died the next day after getting his ass beat by a mob, right? These things get said, the papers print them, all the companies put it out there, it gets into the consciousness, people parrot it left and right. The talking points are so predictable from so many people. I love when I hear a new one, something I haven't seen before, something not straight out the RNC script. I love it. Or, excuse me, Vlad's script for the RNC. Excuse me, because that's where the money's coming from for them. Congratulations, South Korea, for showing the rest of the world how it's done. This should have happened on January 7th or January 6th, the day after Donnie pulled his little stunt, where they had weapons stashed nearby, just in case it succeeded. Why wouldn't it have succeeded? No one was calling the military, and that was planned ahead of time. By a gentleman named Miller, who should be in prison right now. But he's not. When there's a will, there's a way. Unfortunately, that's why I'm saying I'm your guide through the apocalypse, because I don't see that happening here. And I hope I'm wrong about every single thing I'm saying. Once again. I hope everyone has a wonderful day. I hope everyone has had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope everyone has a wonderful Christmas and New Year, because after that, it's going to get crazy. Not in a good way. For anybody. Some people will think it's good at first. So many have to learn the hard way. Little children, what am I going to do with you all? Little uninformed or misguided rubes that vote for their own demise and all of our demise, and they laugh about it. Executives violating antitrust laws when the company's already enormous. They don't need to break the law. They're already worth billions of dollars, got hundreds of thousands of employees. Some CEOs, paying the government to make cases go away. Again, company doesn't even need to break the law. Already worth billions. Got hundreds of thousands of employees. Still want more. More. Even though one company was based on a stolen idea. And the other company was based on stolen copyrighted work. Little children, I don't understand why you do these things. They're not necessary. It's just pure naked greed. You don't have enough yachts yet. You don't have enough mistresses or partners or lovers. You don't have enough cars. You don't have enough clout. You don't have enough power. You don't have enough prestige. What's going to fill that hole inside you where your soul should be? I wonder. I'm guessing nothing will fill it. No matter how many people are subjugated, no matter how many people you control, no matter how many zeros are in your bank account, no matter how many women or men you sleep with, how many cars you buy, you're still going to hate yourself. Because there's something missing. And worldly things can't fill it. It's called a soul. A soul. Oh no, maybe you can change your ways and get one. They're free. Just stop being a scumbag. Stop taking more than you need. Simply because you can. It's not going to end well for you, unfortunately, unless so people, when there's a will, there's a way, but there is no will in America. They want to be conned. 30%, 28%. They love it. They love the WWF. They love Donnie performing for them. They love the double jag-off when he's on stage. They love it. It gives all of them, these leaders, that's another point quickly I'll make. These leaders across the country, Donnie is giving them permission to do these things. Other people are watching what's happening in America. Do you notice? And then little things kind of like it keep happening in other countries across the world, like South Korea. He's emboldening these cretins at the lowest levels of society and at the highest. This is their big chance. Just like Google's big chance. They had a big plan one day to put a strike on my account. The problem is the day before they got adjudicated a criminal by a court of law. It was their big chance. And then I told them in my court videos, I told them, you don't want my attention on you, son. You saw what happened. You don't want my attention. I try to warn people. After I say that, I see a headline one day. They broke the law. They're convicted criminals now. The people that told me I was a criminal, that judged me. Funny. The irony. I'm not an adjudicated criminal. It's hilarious. So yeah, it was their big moment. The night before, they're like, yeah, we're going to put the strike on his account. Exactly 90 days to the second. We put the first one 3 months ago. Can't wait. Nick's going to be so mad. Oh shit, we just got gavelled a criminal. And Nick just happens to be talking about us right now. Happens to be looking our direction right now. So I went on camera with it, people. And I said, hey, the adjudicated, what do I call you? The adjudicated criminal Google now? I don't know what to call it, because you guys call me a scammer. You got no problem, right? Fair's fair, right? Shouldn't be mad about this. I'm not mad about it. Next day, they put the strike on after I talk about them. Threw a little tantrum. That's the effect I have on people. That's why you don't want me looking at you, son. Tried to warn you. Now you got embarrassed. You feel stupid. There's more to come. Found out about your $100 million that got stolen by Vlad. Just like you stole my business. I guess I'll see another strike on my other channel tomorrow, even though I said this here. Little children, you don't have to break the law. You don't have to shut down guys like me that tell the truth and work with gypsy mobsters or Russian mobsters or whatever. You don't have to do all that. You had plenty of money, power, prestige before that. You don't have to be afraid of those people. Oh, you're not afraid of it. You're like those people. That's why. Pity for you. I wouldn't want that to be my existence. But hey, to each his own. Have a good day.